Okay, so you know how much we love digging into unique jobs, right? Well, get ready, because today we're diving deep into the world of leather goods machine operators.
It's a fascinating field, really. A lot of people might not realize how much skill and artistry goes into it. It's way more than just pushing buttons, that's for sure.
You got that right. We were checking out this career guide from RoleCatcher, and it's amazing what these folks do. We're talking like crafting those high-quality leather goods we all love.
Exactly. And the variety. It's not just about one type of product. We're
Mhm.
talking luggage, saddles, harnesses. They're responsible for it all.
Seriously, the guide highlighted how they're involved in everything. Cutting, sewing, finishing, even the routine maintenance of those massive machines.
Absolutely. This guide really stresses that having a knack for detail is key. And it does a great job laying out the pros and cons, which is always super helpful, right?
Totally. Like job stability is a huge plus, obviously. But then you see the part about potential exposure to chemicals, and it makes you appreciate the finished product that much more.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of getting those jobs, RoleCatcher has some seriously in-depth interview prep tools. They have this whole library of potential questions they pull from. And get this, they're tailored for specific roles.
Wait, really? They thought of everything. So, like, what's an example question? What would they throw at someone going for, say, a leather goods machine operator position?
All right, get this. Can you explain the difference between different types of leather and their use? I thought that was a really interesting one.
Wow. Okay, so
Okay.
you're not just operating a machine. You need to understand the materials too, right?
Right. And why certain leathers are best for different products, how to handle them differently. It's like, think of a chef who just follows recipes versus one who understands how different ingredients work together. Totally different level.
That's a great analogy. It sounds like you really need a passion for this kind of work.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore the elephant in the room, technology. The guide mentioned AI is becoming a bigger player. What does that even look like in a hands-on field like this? I mean, could a robot craft a saddle?
That's a great question, and it really speaks to how technology is changing every job these days. Let's dive into that next.
So we're picturing someone who like really knows their leather, has that eye for detail, but now we're adding AI to the mix. It's kind of hard to imagine a robot crafting a saddle.
Oh.
Where does the tech actually come in?
It's a great question. And the guide actually dives into a few key areas. First off, think about the machines themselves. Some of them now use AI for crazy precise cutting, even pattern prediction.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, imagine going from like hand measuring to having a computer assist with that level of
It's
accuracy.
wild. It's not replacing the person though. Right. But it's definitely changing the skills you need for the job.
Exactly. You have to be comfortable working with the tech, not intimidated by it.
Right.
And it's not just on the factory floor either. RoleCatcher itself, they use AI to help tailor resumes, to match those job descriptions perfectly. So even getting your foot in the door is becoming more tech-driven.
So even for hands-on job, you can't shy away from tech skills. It's almost like a secret weapon for standing out, especially if more and more companies are using this kind of technology in hiring.
Absolutely. And honestly, this isn't limited to leather goods. We're seeing this across industries. The traditional skills are still essential, but knowing how to use technology to your advantage, that's becoming just as crucial.
Okay, so say someone is listening to this and thinking, leather goods, AI, this is
Mhm.
kind of cool. What does the path to actually becoming a leather goods machine operator look like?
Well, the guide makes it clear that there aren't any like strict educational requirements. It's more about hands-on experience, apprenticeships, entry-level positions in those leather goods facilities.
So more like learning a trade from a master craftsperson,
Right.
getting your hands dirty, really understanding the materials and how those machines work firsthand.
Exactly. You're building a foundation of practical knowledge, maybe starting by assisting, observing, and then gradually taking on more responsibility as your skills develop.
It's kind of interesting, right? Even with all this talk about AI, the guide still stresses how important that human touch is, that craftsmanship that just can't be automated.
It's that blend that makes this field so interesting right now. And speaking of growth, what's the trajectory look like for someone in this role? Where can they go from there?
Yeah, what are the opportunities for advancement once you've got like your foot in the door, some experience under your belt?
So, as you gain that experience and expertise, there's definitely potential to move into supervisory roles, even quality control management. That deep understanding of the whole process and the materials, the machinery, it all becomes incredibly valuable.
It's like you work your way up to become the mentor, passing on that knowledge to the next generation of leather workers, right?
Right.
And even within this specialized field, they mention the importance of continuous learning. What does that even look like? Are we talking like leather conventions, online courses?
All of that. It could be workshops to learn new techniques, industry events to network and see the latest, advancements in machinery, maybe even those online courses to brush up on your digital design skills.
Wow. It really shows that learning never stops no matter what you do. It's about staying adaptable, staying curious. But what I really want to know is, what are some specific things aspiring operators can do to stand out? We talked about embracing the tech side of things, but what else?
RoleCatcher actually had some really interesting insights on this. They really emphasized the power of building a strong online presence to showcase your work. Think about it. This is a visually driven field.
Oh, like a digital portfolio.
Exactly.
So instead of just saying, I'm good at this type of stitching, you can actually show potential employers examples of your work. That's brilliant.
Exactly. Imagine showcasing your projects, highlighting your experience with specific machines, maybe even sharing your knowledge about different leather types and what they're best for, all in one place.
It's like taking that passion beyond the workbench, bringing it into the digital world. That's a modern take on craftsmanship for sure. Speaking of modern times, let's talk about salary expectations. It's the elephant in the room whenever we talk about careers.
You're right, and the guide actually addresses that. They say the salary range for a leather goods machine operator can vary quite a bit, depending on your experience, location, the size of the employer, all those usual factors.
Right, right. So like with any job, there's no magic number. But what's a ballpark figure for someone just starting out?
They give a general range of around $30,000 to $40,000 per year as a starting point. But obviously with experience, additional skills, that number can go up.
Okay, that gives us a good baseline. Now, what about the future of the profession? With all this talk about automation, AI, is there even going to be a demand for leather goods machine operators in the years to come?
That's a common concern with any profession that involves technology. But here's the interesting thing. The guide actually says the employment outlook is expected to remain relatively stable over the next few years.
That's good news for anyone considering this as a career path. What's driving that stability, though?
It seems like while technology is definitely transforming the industry, it's not necessarily replacing those human jobs altogether. It's more about this fascinating collaboration between human expertise and those technological advancements we talked about.
That's really interesting. So it's not about humans versus machines. It's more like humans and machines working together to create something even better than either could alone.
Exactly. It really highlights the importance of adaptability and continuous learning in today's job market, being ready for anything.
Absolutely.
But let's say someone's already working as a leather goods machine operator. How would they know if it's time to, maybe consider switching jobs? What are the signs?
That's a great question. Because sometimes it's not about the field itself, it's about your individual growth within a company. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, it's like you can love what you do, but maybe you've outgrown the place you're doing it in.
Exactly. Well, the guide doesn't really get into this specifically, but drawing from general career advice, there are definitely some universal signs to look out for.
Okay, yeah. What should people be watching out for?
Well, feeling kind of stagnant, or unchallenged in your current role, that's a big one.
Right, that whole hitting the ceiling feeling.
Yeah.
Like you're not learning or growing as much as you used to.
Exactly. Another thing could be a lack of opportunities for advancement within your company. Like you've reached the top rung on the ladder and there's nowhere else to go.
And of course, if you're just plain unhappy, that's a major red flag no matter what you do.
Absolutely. It's about finding a workplace where you feel valued, where you have that room to grow, personally and professionally.
So for any leather goods machine operators out there who are feeling that itch, maybe it's time to see what else is out there. Sometimes a change of scenery can do wonders.
It's all about taking charge of your own career journey, right?
Now, for our listeners who are thinking, this sounds like my dream job, what's one concrete step they can take right now to explore it further?
Honestly, I'd say check out that RoleCatcher career guide we've been talking about. It's seriously a fantastic resource for anyone interested in this field. They give you all the in-depth info on everything we discussed today and then some.
Consider it your homework after this deep dive. Time to put what you've learned into action right now.
Exactly. And don't forget about those AI-powered features and their interview prep tools. Those can be super valuable as you're navigating the job search.
They really have thought of everything, haven't they? It's amazing how much we've uncovered about a field that, honestly, I think a lot of people probably don't think about every day. But from the artistry of it to the technology involved, it's clear that being a leather goods machine operator, it's more than just a job. It's a craft.
It really is. And it just goes to show you how those traditional skills, combined with that willingness to embrace new technology, it can create a seriously fulfilling and in-demand career path.
So true. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of leather goods machine operators. We hope you gained some valuable insights today, and maybe even discovered a newfound appreciation for the craftsmanship behind those beautiful leather goods we all know and love.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep exploring those hidden wonders of the working world. You never know what you might find.